Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I'm here to do a season review of a sort of Netflix's The Sandman. Now, I did a review of the premiere episode in detail because I wanted to have some comments on the record about the show when it first came out, as opposed to waiting until I had had a chance to see the whole thing. But I've now seen the whole thing, and I wanted to give my thoughts on the season as a whole. I'm not going to break down every episode, that would take too long, but I wanted to give my thoughts on the season. So I want to say again, before I go into that I don't have any knowledge of the source material other than that which I've acquired since starting to watch this show, and that knowledge is teeny tiny, small, minuscule. So just keep that in mind. So what did I think of the season on the whole? Well, I thought it was a bit uneven. I thought it was a bit when it was all said and done. I very much enjoyed the first few episodes, the first 4 or 5 episodes. I found the visuals to be stunning. I found the storytelling to be stunning. The acting was great. I liked where it seemed they were going, but in the back half of the season, they didn't go there. So I was a little let down. I tend to favor episodic television, but I also can enjoy serialized TV if it's done well. I don't think this show knew which it wanted to be, whether it wanted to be episodic or serialized. Obviously, there's a through line that starts in the first episode and goes through at least the episode where he gets his equipment back, his helm, his sand, and his ruby. So however many episodes that was, 3 or 4 or 5, there's a through line of he's on a mission to get the stuff back, and each action he takes is a step towards doing that. And he needs to get the stuff back so that he can be at his full strength, so that he can preserve the dreaming and thus not have humanity go into a crazy tailspin of not being able to sleep and not being able to dream and not being able to wake up forever and ever, because it's already been that way for 100 years and he's trying to undo it and keep it from getting worse or whatever. So I found those episodes to be the best episodes. He visits with Death, his sister Death, during that part of the season. And that episode was spectacular. I know there was some controversy about the casting of the woman who plays Death, but she did a fantastic job in the part. Unbelievable acting on her part. And again, the visuals that they used during that episode, where you never really see her with her wings, but you see the shadow and you hear them as she's taking people off, the mortal coil. The demeanor that they wrote for the character, which I guess is the same as in the comics, I don't actually know, but it was just fantastic. That whole episode was very moving and very well done. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But, other things that I thought they didn't get right were, for example, they set up this whole thing in the beginning where he's captured, by the Magus, and the Magus's girlfriend steals his stuff and it gets sold off. But then we find her later in life and she's been able to extend her life because she had magical items. I guess in her case, this protection thing, which we never really know where it comes from, if I remember correctly. But anyway, we know that she had a baby, and she goes to visit the baby, and he's like in a prison hospital kind of thing, and he's very bitter towards her, and he's got the ruby, I guess, and she gave it to him, and so he's got a chip on his shoulder and he's kind of demented, but she sacrifices herself for him and he gets out. And there's an episode where he's with this woman who takes a shine to him because he seems to need help, and she's kind to him, but she soon figures it out that he's kind of crazy, and she's at that point afraid for her life. But he never does her any harm. In fact, he gives her the protection thing and says, you never have to be afraid of anything ever again. And that means you never have to lie ever again, because he hates lying. He has a thing about lying. And I thought that was a great episode. He was fantastic in the part, that actor. it was just really a great episode. And you think, God, this guy is going to be a foil for Dream for the rest of the season. He's going to have to deal with this guy. Nope. Nope. They had one more episode where he hangs out in a diner, and 6 or 7 characters that, I guess usually inhabit the diner come through, and they go through various machinations, but then he like pulls back the curtain and everybody stops lying and they tell the truth, and you see that they're different people and they're all kind of jerks in one way or another. And at the end of it, this is where Dream catches up with him, and they have a single confrontation, and then that's it. This character, John D, this menacing guy, not in the story anymore. He would have been great as a villain for the whole show, or an anti-hero or whatever, or an antagonist of some other type for the rest of the season. Nope. Took him out, 6th episode in, almost as if the show was episodic. This was the episode for John D, 1 and done. Well, 2 and done. But I wanted more. The show was, because then he gets his stuff back too within the first 5 or 6 episodes. And so that part of it was over. And so from there, it still kind of was serialized, because the story became about this Vortex character that was going to inadvertently destroy everything just by the fact that they were born a vortex that can tear down the walls between realities, or between the dream world and the human world, or the waking world. And so the next few episodes become about finding her and either destroying her or whatever to prevent that from happening. And that whole part of the season was, to me, not anywhere near as compelling as what they were doing when he was still trying to get his stuff back and he wasn't at full strength, and he had to deal with various other characters, like, for example, Joanna Constantine, who is incredibly underused in this season, if you ask me, and whose backstory they give us for no reason. They give her a backstory in this series, which is similar to the backstory that John Constantine was given in The Legends of Tomorrow. And I guess it is his backstory from the comics, not hers, and they switched it. I don't know. I can't be sure about that. Anyway, they both share the same backstory at some point. And it's a very compelling backstory, and they show you her backstory as if they're going to use the character down the road, and that's going to play a part in things that she does. Not really. She's in like 1 episode of significance. And then you see the same actress playing an ancestor of hers in another episode, and she doesn't do anything significant. So she was incredibly underused. I thought they could have done something with that. They showed us her backstory for no reason. I didn't understand that. The episode where she plays her own ancestor was cool too. It was an episode about Dream meeting a man that in the 1600s he gave eternal life to, kind of as an experiment, and then kept meeting every 100 years. And the changes that occurred in the guy's life, most of which were beneficial, only one time does he sort of have a downfall, were very interesting. And it was a compelling episode. It was a heartfelt episode. It was a moving episode. But it had nothing to do with the larger story, finding his stuff, stopping the vortex. It had with either of those larger stories, which is fine. It doesn't have to. You can have a show that's episodic. But this show, like I said, couldn't decide whether it was episodic or not. 1 minute it's serialized, the next minute it's episodic. A lot of shows do that. They blend them, but I didn't find the blend worked here, like it worked, for example, on Deep Space Nine, and like it works on Strange New Worlds. It just felt disjointed. They had characters that should have gone much longer in the story, but didn't. They just sort of cut them off at the knees in favor of an arc for the back half of the season that was just blah. So I don't understand that. One highlight of the season was the interaction that Dream has with Lucifer in hell. And there's a particular scene where they battle, but it's not a battle of powers, it's a battle of like concepts, of words, and it's like a mind battle, that they have a battle of the minds by using their words and coming up with concepts that like outdo the other person's concepts. And I thought that was pretty cool. And at least that part had to do with him getting his stuff back. So that was cool. But you think Lucifer's going to have a big part in the events of the season because it's Lucifer, but no, nope. Now the way the season ended, it makes it seem like, oh, in the next season Lucifer's going to be a big part of it, or Lucifer's machinations are going to be a big part of the story of any potential season two. But for season one, Lucifer was kind of a non-entity, and I just think that this was a season of TV that started out great, started out with intriguing premises that I thought could have gone the distance of 10 episodes, but which didn't. Because halfway through the season, they decided to switch the plot over to this vortex story, which I just didn't think much of. Stephen Fry is in those episodes. He's very good. I enjoyed him very much. But the story that they did in those episodes, I thought was very boring. I didn't think anything of it. And I also didn't like the one villain that's consistent through the whole season, the Corinthian. I didn't think he was much of a villain. I didn't like the actor, but there again, he may have been playing the part the way he was supposed to play it. I guess the character might be kind of lame in my view. I just didn't vibe with that character at all. So I don't know. I thought it could have been a better season. The actress, by the way, I just want to mention too, that plays Lucienne in this is fantastic. She's great in everything she's in. I thought she was a very good part of the season, just to mention another positive in the middle of all these negatives that I'm mentioning. But yeah, I thought that it was very uneven. I thought that it started better than it finished by a long shot. I thought that they underused some great characters. Death being another one. As I said, she was really great. She's in one episode. I thought that was a mistake, but you know, it was good. I didn't think it was fantastic. A lot of people are raving about it. I thought the first half of it was fantastic. I thought there were fantastic elements all the way through, but on balance, it was not a fantastic season of television. It was good. That's my assessment. I will definitely watch a season two if there is a season two. Hopefully, they use Jenna Coleman as Joanna Constantine more. I had thought she was going to be in the season prominently. She wasn't. Major bummer. So, yeah, that's really it. I hope they keep elements from season one that worked and ditch elements of season one that didn't work in season two. How much of that they're able to do based on how closely they're following the source material, I don't know, but that's my hope. So, there you have it. That's my review in overview fashion of this season of Netflix's The Sandman. I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back with more content soon. Until then, I wish you peace and long life.